The council chamber aboard Nexus Station fell silent as Ambassador William Harris rose. Delegates of every species, scaled, insectoid, and even gaseous, paused their shifting motions. Something in the human stance commanded attention. Harris was tired. For 5 years he had endured patronizing voices, endless delays, and thinly veiled insults. Today he had reached his limit. Earth is withdrawing from these talks, he said, calm but final. Effective immediately. Council Speaker Zerkath, tall and glittering in purple scales, gave a condescending laugh. Please, Ambassador. Frustration clouds judgment, but Harris did not sit. Instead, he picked up a tablet near Zerkath and revealed its contents. Detailed plans to seize human colonies, sealed with the Council's emblem. This is no frustration, Harris said, his voice steady. It is betrayal. Shock rippled through the chamber. Zerkath's scales darkened with shame. That is one of many scenarios, nothing more. Susan Miller, Harris's aide, stood. Scenarios that involve breaking treaties after we defended your trade routes. So this is your gratitude, a tentacled envoy sneered. Without us, your kind would still be crawling on Earth. Harris looked around the chamber. We have asked for equal membership for 2 decades. You answered only with delays. From this day, humanity rejects your authority. The chamber erupted. Some shouted. Others demanded explanations. The gaseous beings flashing crimson with alarm. But the human delegation calmly gathered their belongings, as though prepared all along. You cannot survive alone, the insectoid envoy hissed. Harris gave a faint smile. We have learned more than you realize. He pressed a device and every database screen went dark. When they flickered back on, every record of humanity was gone. If you wish to treat us as equals, send word, he said. Until then, contact is severed. The humans departed. Inside, some councillors fumed, others scoffed. Only the youngest whispered, we may have made a grave mistake. Outside, Harris exhaled at last. Send the signal to Earth, he told Miller. Plan Omega begins. Far below, in Geneva, the command hall filled with military leaders and scientists. Admiral Diane Powell stood before a massive countdown. The delegation has withdrawn, she said. Plan Omega is active. Dr. Alan Murphy rushed in, coat wrinkled and hair wild. Shield generators tested. Stronger than anything the Council has. General Rodriguez nodded. Good. We'll need them. The timer hit 0, and Harris's face appeared on the main screen. They believe we will crawl back within weeks. They are wrong. Then we proceed, Powell ordered. All fleets, Operation Silent Departure. Factories hidden across Earth came alive. Colonies on Mars and Europa powered up concealed defenses. In Arizona, Dr. Lisa Bennett pushed engineers to finish installing advanced engines on transports. We must move fast, she said. By tomorrow, the Council will notice. In orbit, Captain Peter Allen of The Guardian issued new orders. Every human settlement is now our responsibility, he told his crew. The Council will no longer protect us. The first hours after Operation Silent Departure were filled with quiet urgency. Across the solar system, hidden facilities long prepared for this day came alive. In the underground hangars of Nevada, sleek starships emerged from cavernous bays. Painted in matte black, their surfaces shimmered faintly with advanced shielding technology. Engineers guided crews aboard while technicians loaded supplies with practiced precision. 2 minutes ahead of schedule, reported Commander Lewis, overseeing the launches. We can have the first fleet ready within 6 hours. On Europa, deep beneath layers of ice, a concealed base powered up. Giant turbines hummed, lighting tunnels that had been dark for decades. Submarines surfaced in underground lakes, carrying modules designed to convert the icy moon into a fortress. Activate the planetary cloak, ordered Colonel Tanaka. A faint pulse rippled outward, and in orbit, satellites confirmed Europa's presence fading from alien sensors. Let the Council try to find us now. Meanwhile on Mars, entire colonies shifted routines. What appeared to be farming domes and research outposts hid weapons platforms and launch silos. Dr. Marcus Reed, a stern physicist with sharp eyes, walked among workers as they installed antimatter reactors. For 10 years we told them this was agricultural development, he muttered. Now it becomes our shield. Back on Earth, the Geneva Command Center tracked every move. Admiral Powell addressed the assembly. Every colony must be secured before the Council realizes we've vanished from their networks. Time is our greatest enemy. General Rodriguez folded his arms. And when they come looking? Powell's eyes were cold. Then we show them humanity is no longer prey. Across the asteroid belt, Captain Peter Allen's ship Guardian rendezvoused with mining fleets. The workers, once under Council oversight, greeted the Navy with relief. "We've been waiting for this day," said one miner, shaking Allen's hand. "No more Council taxes, no more restrictions," Allen nodded. "Freedom brings risk. The Council won't forgive us easily, but from today forward, we protect our own." In Arizona, Dr. Lisa Bennett oversaw the first test of the upgraded engine drives. As the prototype ship lifted into the night sky, its engines left no detectable trace. To outside eyes, it seemed to vanish into darkness. Her assistant gasped. "It works," Bennett smiled faintly. "Now humanity truly has wings." But in the Council chamber on Nexus Station, suspicions grew. Council Speaker Zerkath slammed a scaled fist onto the table. "They erased themselves from our systems. This is defiance." One of the insectoid envoys clicked in agitation. "We should strike immediately before they spread too far." Others hesitated. "Humanity is young," said Trell quietly, the only voice of caution. "But they are clever. If we act rashly, we may ignite something we cannot contain." Zerkath's eyes narrowed. "Contain them we must. Begin surveillance of their colonies. If necessary, prepare to seize what should have been ours." Back on Earth, Harris returned from Nexus Station to a hero's welcome in the Geneva Command Hall. Yet his face carried no pride, only grim determination. "This is only the beginning," he told Powell and the generals. "We've declared our independence. Now we must prove we can defend it." He looked around the chamber, at leaders, scientists, and soldiers alike. "The Council will not underestimate us again, and when they come, they will see a species ready to stand, not kneel." The room fell silent, the weight of his words settling over every soul present. For the first time in history, humanity stood truly alone, yet united as never before. The hidden exodus of humanity had begun. Dozens of fleets slipped from Earth's orbit, their engines masked by cloaking technology. To any outside observer, the planet seemed quiet, almost defenseless. In reality, it was alive with movement. Admiral Powell stood in the orbital command deck of the flagship Resolute. Through the viewport, Earth's curve gleamed against the black of space. "By the end of the week," she told her staff, "every colony and every convoy will be beyond the Council's reach." Her aide, Lieutenant Harper, checked the displays. "Transmission silence holding. No leaks detected." "Good," Powell replied. "The longer the Council doubts, the better our chances." On the far side of the solar system, near Pluto's orbit, the first secret fleet assembled. Ships ranged from massive carriers to nimble escorts, their hulls painted in reflective alloys that bent light away. Captain Sarah O'Neill of the carrier Vanguard addressed her crew. "We are humanity's shield. If the Council comes, it will be us they meet first. Train hard, no mistakes." Meanwhile, Dr. Alan Murphy oversaw the installation of experimental reactors on Jupiter's moons. His team had worked in secrecy for years, harnessing alien science into something uniquely human. "If this works," Murphy told his exhausted engineers, "our defenses will surpass theirs. And if it doesn't," one asked nervously. Murphy gave a crooked smile. "Then we find out how creative humanity can really be." Back on Earth, William Harris met privately with Susan Miller. The ambassador who once fought with words now spoke with a soldier's resolve. "Do you think the Council will act quickly?" she asked. "They'll argue first," Harris answered. "7 races never move as one, but eventually they will come." He paused, his voice low. "And when they do, we'll face the storm alone." In the Council chamber, the storm was already brewing. Zerkath pressed his 4 hands against the table. "Humanity's silence is defiance. If we wait, they will spread like a plague." An insectoid envoy hissed agreement. "Strike now! Crush their colonies!" Trell, the younger delegate, raised his voice. "We cannot dismiss them so lightly. Humans adapt quickly. If they've hidden their worlds, perhaps they have prepared more than we imagine." Zerkath scoffed. "They are children. Brave perhaps, but children all the same. Let us remind them who rules this galaxy." The Council voted, and though some hesitated, the majority favoured action. A fleet was ordered to probe the outer colonies, beginning with the mining world of Epsilon. News of the Council's decision reached Geneva within hours. Thanks to hidden informants still loyal to humanity, Admiral Powell's jaw tightened as she read the report. "So it begins. Epsilon will be their first target," Harris nodded grimly. "Then Epsilon must be the place where we show them humanity is no longer prey." Orders raced through encrypted channels. Captain Allen aboard the Guardian received them first. His crew stiffened at the news. Epsilon is ours to protect, Alan said. If the Council comes, we stand our ground. The red sands of Epsilon colony stretched beneath a thin, dusty sky. Once little more than a mining world, its tunnels now house thousands of settlers and secret defense systems installed under the Council's very nose. Captain Allen's ship Guardian emerged from hyperspace, flanked by two smaller escorts. "Report!" Allen ordered. "Colony defenses online," Jane Butler confirmed. "Shields at 70%, hidden turrets ready. Civilians are sheltered." Allen studied the tactical display. "Then we wait." Hours later, alarms rang out. 3 massive silhouettes emerged from the void. Council warships, sleek and bristling with weapons. They outclassed the human patrol ships in size and firepower. The lead alien commander transmitted, voice sharp through the translator. "This colony is under Council jurisdiction. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed." Allen answered calmly, though his heart pounded. "Negative. Epsilon is a human colony. Approach, and you will be fired upon." On the ground, miners armed themselves with rifles adapted from alien tech. Colonel Reyes, commander of the garrison, stood tall before his troops. "If they break orbit, we fight them in the tunnels. Today, we prove we are not slaves." In orbit, the Council ships advanced. Their weapons lit, energy flaring against the black. "Evasive maneuvers," Allen barked. The Guardian rolled hard, narrowly dodging the first barrage. One escort ship wasn't so lucky. An explosion tore through its hull, scattering debris into space. Jane's voice cracked. "We can't match their firepower." Allen gritted his teeth. "Then we use their arrogance." He opened a secure channel to the colony. "Reyes, now!" From the surface, hidden batteries roared to life. Energy lances streaked upward, striking the nearest Council cruiser. Its shields shimmered, then buckled under the unexpected assault. On the Guardian, cheers erupted. Allen seized the moment. "Target their engines. Disable, don't destroy." His ship darted close, releasing a spread of missiles enhanced with human modifications. They slipped past the alien defenses and detonated against the cruiser's rear thrusters. Fire blossomed across its hull. The remaining Council ships faltered, caught off guard by resistance they had never expected from primitive humans. "Signal from the second ship," Jane reported. "They're calling for reinforcements." Allen's expression darkened. "Then this is only the beginning." On Nexus Station, news of the skirmish spread like wildfire. Zurkath slammed the table in fury. "A single colony has defied us and crippled one of our ships. This cannot stand." But Trell spoke softly, almost to himself. "They are not children. They are wolves in waiting." Back on Epsilon, the damaged cruiser drifted helplessly. Human ships circled it like predators, weapons locked. Yet Allen hesitated. Jane glanced at him. "Finish them?" Allen shook his head. "No. Let them limp home and tell the story. Fear will spread faster than our guns." The surviving Council ships withdrew, dragging the crippled cruiser behind them. On the colony's surface, cheers echoed through the tunnels. For the first time, humans had faced the Council in open battle, and won. Allen stood at the viewport, watching the retreat. "Send word to Geneva," he said. "Tell them humanity's first stand has begun." The victory at Epsilon spread like a spark through dry grass. Across Earth's colonies, whispers of defiance turned into shouts of pride. For the first time, humanity had stood against the Council, and survived. In Geneva, the command hall was filled with tense energy. Admiral Powell addressed the gathered leaders. "The Council will not ignore this defeat. Their retaliation will be swift and overwhelming. We must prepare every world." General Rodriguez leaned forward, eyes burning. "Then let us strike first. Hit their supply lines. Cripple their fleets before they regroup." William Harris raised a hand. His voice was steady but firm. "We are strong but not reckless. A premature offensive could unite the Council completely against us. For now, we must fortify, rally, and prove our colonies stand together." The assembly murmured, divided between caution and aggression. Meanwhile on Mars, military factories shifted into overdrive. Once disguised as civilian research centers, they now churned out sleek fighters and armored transports. Colonel Vargas oversaw the work, his boots echoing through the hangar. "Every ship counts," he barked to the crews. "If you finish early, start the next. The Council won't wait, and neither can we." On Europa, the icy tunnels echoed with the hum of shield generators. Dr. Tanaka adjusted dials as a massive dome of energy flickered to life, encasing the base. "Test complete," he said with a thin smile. Europa can now vanish from their scans entirely. In the asteroid belt, Captain Sarah O'Neill trained her carrier squadrons. Pilots practice maneuvers designed to exploit the Council's rigid formations. They rely on overwhelming force, O'Neill told them. We rely on adaptability. Outthink them, outmaneuver them, and victory is possible. Civilian leaders also began to act. On Titan, Governor Amelia Clark addressed her people. The Council will call us traitors, but we are only demanding respect. Stand firm. Together, no force in the galaxy can erase us. Back on Nexus Station, the Council chamber burned with outrage. Zerkath demanded a full military campaign. Humanity's defiance spreads like infection. If left unchecked, it will inspire others. Trell spoke once more in caution. Perhaps it is already too late. Perhaps humanity has grown beyond what we imagined. But his warning fell on deaf ears. The Council voted. A massive retaliatory fleet would be assembled to crush the uprising. In Geneva, Harris received the intelligence through hidden channels. He stared at the report, then looked to Powell and Rodriguez. "They're coming with everything," he said quietly. "Epsilon was only the beginning." Powell's expression hardened. "Then we will not wait to be slaughtered. It's time to unite every colony under one banner." She stood before the assembly and raised her voice so all could hear. "From this day, Earth and her colonies are not divided worlds, but one nation, one people, one humanity." The chamber erupted in thunderous applause. Leaders and officers rose to their feet. Even Harris, weary from years of diplomacy, felt a surge of pride. For the first time, humanity had a single voice, and it was ready to roar. On Nexus Station, the Council chamber pulsed with urgency. Dozens of envoys filled the hall, their voices clashing in heated tones. The defeat at Epsilon had shaken them to their core. "This insult cannot stand," hissed the insectoid envoy, mandibles clicking. "Humanity must be crushed before others follow their example." Zerkath slammed the table with a heavy fist. "Agreed. Assemble the largest fleet the Council has fielded in a century. We will make Epsilon an example." Trell, his tone quieter, dared to object. "They have proven resourceful. If we gather such strength and still fail, we risk humiliation before the entire galaxy." "Enough," Zerkath snapped. "Prepare the Armada." Across Council space, vast shipyards lit up. Carriers, destroyers, and war cruisers slid from dry docks, escorted by smaller craft. Supply depots filled with munitions. An army of billions prepared to march into human territory. Back in Geneva, Admiral Powell studied intelligence reports. The holographic display showed hundreds of red markers converging on the edges of human space. "They're not sending a probing force this time," Powell muttered. "They're bringing their hammer." General Rodriguez slammed a fist into his palm. "Then we make them bleed for every inch. No retreat." Harris spoke with measured calm. "Direct confrontation would be suicide. We must use speed, deception, and guile. Strike them where they're weak. Show them that no fortress is safe from humanity." Colonel Vargas proposed a daring plan. Deploy stealth fleets to ambush supply lines while colonies fortified their defenses. "Starve the beast before it can strike," he said. Powell approved. "Every convoy, every fuel ship, every transport, they become our targets. If the Armada cannot feed itself, it cannot fight." On Mars, squadrons of fighters launched in silence, vanishing into the void. On Europa, cloaked frigates slipped into hidden tunnels carved in the ice. In the asteroid belt, mobile bases powered up engines, ready to move when discovery loomed. Meanwhile, civilians prepared for the worst. Families dug into shelters, miners armed themselves, farmers trained with rifles beside soldiers. A sense of grim unity bound them all. Captain Peter Allen, still stationed at Epsilon, addressed his weary crew. "We bloodied them once. Now the storm is coming. Stand firm. Humanity's hope rests on our shoulders." In the Council fleet's command ship, a towering vessel named Oblivion, Admiral Kreth studied his charts. His scaled claws tapped against the display. "Primitive humans dare to resist us," he growled. "We will burn their colonies to ash. The galaxy will remember who commands and who obeys." But among his officers, unease simmered. They had heard the stories of Epsilon, stories of human ships that vanished into darkness, of weapons that struck harder than expected, of tactics unpredictable and fierce. As the Armada surged forward, the galaxy held its breath. The Council came with fire and fury, convinced of their supremacy. Humanity waited in silence, hidden fleets poised like daggers in the dark. The Council Armada moved like a tidal wave through space, massive, unstoppable, and sure of its own strength. Yet its lifeblood flowed through smaller veins. Convoys of fuel ships, carriers of supplies, and communication relays stretched thin across the void. Humanity struck there first. Near the rings of Saturn, a cloaked frigate commanded by Captain Rivera lay in wait. "Hold, hold," she whispered, watching the convoy approach. A dozen council transports, lightly escorted, glided past unsuspectingly. Now, her frigate decloaked and fired in a single breath. Torpedoes streaked forward, ripping into the fuel carriers. Explosions blossomed like dying suns, scattering debris across the black. The escorts scrambled, but Rivera's ship had already vanished, slipping into the ring's shadow. The convoy was left in flames. Elsewhere, in the asteroid belt, Sarah O'Neill's carrier group launched a daring raid. Her fighters swarmed a council supply depot hidden inside a hollow moon. Laser fire tore through storage tanks, igniting massive fireballs that consumed the base. "Depot destroyed," her wing leader reported. "Good," O'Neill replied. "Let them feel hunger before they feel fear." On Europa, cloaked gunships intercepted communication relays. Beams of energy severed long-range links, cutting off fleets from their command centers. Council admirals fumed in confusion as orders went missing. Fleets blundered into wrong sectors, and reinforcements failed to arrive. Everywhere the humans struck, they disappeared just as quickly, leaving chaos in their wake. In Geneva, Admiral Powell reviewed the results. 3 supply convoys gone, 2 depots crippled, and communications fractured. "Their advance will slow," Rodriguez grinned fiercely. "Not enough. We must make them bleed harder." But Harris cautioned. "Every strike makes them more determined. They will bring the full weight of their wrath soon." "Are our defenses ready for that storm?" Powell nodded grimly. "They will have to be." In the Council flagship Oblivion, Admiral Kreth seethed. Reports of missing convoys and destroyed depots filled his desk. "These humans are vermin," he snarled. "Clever vermin. But vermin nonetheless. We will swat them from existence." One of his officers shifted uneasily. "Admiral, if their attacks continue, our fleets may run low on resources before reaching their colonies." Kreth bared sharp teeth. "Then we will take what we need from the humans themselves. Burn their worlds. Strip their minds. Let them feed our war machine with their ashes." Back at Epsilon, Captain Allen addressed his weary crew once more. "The raids have bought us time, but the storm still comes. They'll throw everything at us. And when they do, we stand, no matter the cost." His words carried through the ship, steady and resolute. For his crew, it was enough. Above Earth, shipyards glowed as new warships launched into the void. Humanity had never been so united, nor so determined. The Council Armada might have been slowed, but it still came on, vast, relentless, and hungry for vengeance. The Great Clash loomed closer with every passing hour. The Council Armada entered human space like a storm front. Hundreds of warships in tight formation, their weapons blazing against the darkness. From the command deck of the Oblivion, Admiral Kreth's voice thundered, "Crush them! Let the galaxy see their rebellion buried." Across the void, humanity waited. Dozens of ships hidden in asteroid fields, moons, and cloaked stations now revealed themselves. Their engines flared as they rose to meet the invaders. Admiral Powell stood aboard the Resolute, her voice steady over the fleet channel. "This is the moment we were forged for. Fight with courage, fight with unity, fight for humanity." The battle erupted in blinding light. Council cruisers unleashed waves of plasma, carving through the void. Human frigates darted between their lines, striking engines and weak points before vanishing again. Fighters swarmed like hornets, forcing the massive warships to split their fire. Captain Allen's Guardian charged headlong into the fray. "Target their command ships!" he shouted. His crew obeyed, unleashing a torrent of missiles that hammered against the shields of a Council destroyer until it cracked apart in a firestorm. On the colony of Mars, railguns buried deep in the soil fired into orbit, their slugs piercing the armor of unsuspecting carriers. Europa's hidden shield dome flickered into view as it deflected a barrage, buying precious time for Allied squadrons. But the Council pressed harder. Their sheer numbers overwhelmed human lines. Several frigates were torn apart, their wreckage spinning silently. Powell's comms filled with desperate cries for reinforcements. "Hold the line," she commanded, though her own heart quaked. At the height of the battle, Dr. Murphy's secret weapon was unleashed. From Jupiter's orbit, experimental reactors powered a colossal energy beam. The weapon fired once, an incandescent lance of light that tore straight through the Oblivion's shields and ripped across its hull. On the Council flagship, alarms blared. Admiral Kreth staggered as consoles exploded around him. Impossible! He roared. But humanity was no longer fighting the way the Council expected. They weren't prey. They were predators, using cunning, unity, and their own desperation as weapons. Still, the cost was staggering. Hundreds of human ships were lost. Colonies burned under orbital fire. The void was littered with wreckage, silent graves for the fallen. At last, with their flagship crippled and their fleets bleeding, the Council ordered retreat. One by one, their ships broke formation and vanished into hyperspace. A stunned silence fell across the human channels. Then slowly cheers erupted. Against all odds, they had not only survived, they had forced the Council to withdraw. On the Resolute, Powell's face softened with pride and exhaustion. Signal every colony. Tell them humanity stands. In Geneva, Harris spoke before the assembly. We are no longer a divided people at the mercy of others. We have proven our right to exist, not as subjects, but as equals in the stars. From Earth to the farthest colonies, his words echoed. Humanity had paid dearly, but its flame still burned bright, defiant, unbroken, and ready for whatever the galaxy would bring next.